Hey everybody, Rob Woodbridge from Untether.tv here. This, what you're about to see, is a single clip. It's a few minutes of a much larger episode that can be found on Untether.tv. So enjoy this, but if you'd like to see the whole thing, just check out Untether.tv. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks. What about, I see this all the time, a company, especially right now, because we're in the middle of this massive disruption and companies are rising to the top very quickly and failing very quickly in this space. But in the same time, they're building a client base. They're getting customers to use their products. And what used to be, back in the day, if you built a piece of software and 100 people used it, you used to think, wow, I'm a successful software developer. But now it's tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of users, and they're all sharing data kind of willy-nilly. But a lot of these companies disappear. Right? A lot of these companies go out of business, they go bankrupt, they get bought, and your data, which is your data, which you have put into there, and the effort that you put into there goes with it or goes somewhere. I mean, are we thinking about data disposal techniques at this point? Or are we even considering that right now? And how much does that play into trust? If you're a small business or a medium size or a large business, should you be saying in your end user license agreement that this is our data disposal strategy, or if something happens, this is what we do with the data if we shut down? How important is that?
That's a really interesting question. I think that people's mindset, for the most part, around building the business and haven't really thought about, if business getting into trouble, how you actually kind of make sure what you have in a safe place, right? And I think there are certain sort of regulation practice that are in the place that, if, for example, for the data you connect, if you don't use for 2 years as a business, you should actually automatically dispose of those data, right? And for example, in some case, user preference, if people have put in place every 3 months, every 6 months, you should refresh. So there's certain practice you need to really consider about it. I don't think actually there's a common practice or common way at this point, but I think it's an important one. When business going out of business, how you deal with that. And that's an interesting question. And because at that point, I guess who is the owner or the interest owner for that, I guess for that matter, really take care of that. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, because you think about, a lot of companies have been bought. Like the last company, big company, a big acquisition, Instagram being rolled up into Facebook. I lend my information to Instagram. I'm not interested in lending my information to Facebook at this point, but they have access to it because of the acquisition. But I didn't get an email saying, hey, this is what we're going to do with your data as we roll Instagram into Facebook. But as a user concerned about where my data is and putting implicit trust in Instagram, I should have received something that said, hey, this is our new data strategy. Are you in or are you out, right? I mean, that would just seem to me like a logical first step. And I don't know if we're ever going to solve that, especially with the rapid rate that these things are happening. But it seems like we're not even thinking about that. Somebody has to be, right?
No, I think you're right that, as a matter of fact, that there's regulation that if you materially change your data strategy, to your point, and change your practice, the data connection, data share, you actually have to get sort of consent. Again, the definition, what is the material change? What is the material impact, right? Yeah. But I think the guidelines there, and there are two areas, I guess, pieces. One is that can industry self-regulate, right? Meaning that everybody in the industry do the right things and move industry forward. I think that's the ideal scenario. Then the other case scenario that is, if industry cannot self-regulate, then you have sort of government step in and say, okay, now you guys, you cannot do what you should be doing. Here's regulation. I think we're not there yet for the regulation. I think industry is basically saying we are good guys. We understand this. Let's do the right thing, and hopefully that some sort of the right things can move forward.
Yeah, I would hope that we could self-regulate. All you guys listening out there, watching, whatever you're doing in this business in the mobile space, please, let's come to an agreement and self-regulate. Let's not get the government involved here. It will stifle innovation, and we will just be back to stone tablets instead of mobile tablets, right? Digital devices. So let's just hope we can self-regulate, please.